right, so today we're going to talk about engine, airframe, and APU programs. I have a vast background in these different programs. I used to work as a program provider years ago, selling maintenance programs, so I know a little more than the average bear on this. So let's get into the basics. First, we have engine programs. These engines cost a lot of money. So they say that about 70% of the aircraft's value lies in those engines, and it's for good reason. The overhauls on these engines right here are probably around $3.5 million aside. Now they are on condition, so we don't know when you're going to hit those overhaul intervals, but basically engine programs can be broken down into two different elements. One is an unscheduled element, the other is a scheduled element. The unscheduled element is kind of like insurance. So for every hour you fly, you pay a portion of the hourly rate. It is consumed. If you have no unscheduled maintenance, that money is gone. Now, the scheduled maintenance is sort of like prepaid maintenance. Those overhauls that have to occur every 6,000 or 7,000 hours on these engines, plus they have hot section inspections. Those are scheduled maintenance intervals. So the hourly program that you have for the engine basically accrues for that future maintenance. So you have scheduled and unscheduled maintenance. Now, here's where it gets a little difficult. There are so many different levels of coverage. Some of these engine programs cover the parts only, some cover the labor only, some cover both, some cover only unscheduled maintenance, but not the scheduled maintenance. So it's really important that you know what is covered in your engine program, especially before you buy the airplane and especially when you sell the airplane. Now, there's a couple of programs that also do what's called a deferred buy-in. In other words, if these engines already had 3,000 hours on it before you enrolled it onto the program, you would have to pay for those 3,000 hours of consumed life. But some programs allow you to defer that. So you need to know about that as well before you buy or sell your airplane. Now, engine programs are more like whole life. The value of that program follows the airplane through its entire life. It's for this reason that I'm a big fan of the engine program. So there's two other kinds of programs. There's an airframe program and an APU program. The APU program, which is the auxiliary power unit, which powers the airplane when it's on the ground, they have programs for those as well. Most of those are pretty cut and dry. They're not like different levels of coverage, maybe a little bit, but by and large, they're going to be full coverage and they don't have deferments. I am also a big fan of APU programs. Not all airplanes have APUs, however, so just be aware of that. Now let's talk about the airframe program. Airframe programs are all different levels and cover a multitude of things. Some are parts only, some are parts and labor. They're all different prices, but here's the thing to think about with airframe programs. They're more like term life. So for a lot of the citations, for example, those program terms are 3 years or 5 years, depending on what provider you go through. The maintenance that they accrue for, your hourly rate, is based on what they expect to see during those 3 years with your utilization. So, which airframe program is right for you? It depends on the make and model, but there's a lot of pitfalls there, especially if you cancel early. Some of the programs require you to repay a negative balance, but they'll only give you a portion of a positive balance. I kind of like to look at this as an extended warranty program, maybe for the first few years of the first term. See how the airplane's going to work for you if there's a lot of maintenance issues, because the repayment of a negative balance is only if you cancel early on some of the programs. These programs change constantly, so make sure you read your contract. The other tip I'll give you is most people do not take advantage of their contracts the way they should. In other words, you're paying an hourly rate and you're not getting reimbursed for things that are reimbursable. So read your contract, get a cheat sheet together, and make sure your flight department knows what you can charge back to the program. Even in-house labor sometimes can be reimbursed. So that's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.